Can you even begin to imagine a world where the seven kings of K-pop aren't just seen on glowing screens, but are immortalized in ways that completely defy the traditional laws of art and architecture? Welcome to the ultimate countdown that every army has been waiting for. We all know BTS has conquered the Billboard charts, the Grammys, and the hearts of millions across the globe. But the year 2026 marks the beginning of a new era, the era where they conquer physical history itself. We are absolutely not talking about your average stiff museum dolls standing in a corner here. No, we are diving deep into leaked blueprints, ambitious artistic proposals, and rumored mega projects that place Kim Namjoon, Kim Seokjin, Min Yoongi, Young Ho-seok, Park Jimin, Kim Tae-hung, and Jungkook in locations so stunning, they feel like pure fantasy. From the highest peaks of atmospheric reflection to the deepest cultural sanctuaries, these plans are set to redefine what a wax figure actually means in the modern world. Why are top-tier curators fighting tooth and nail over these specific locations? Which member is destined for a backdrop that costs millions of dollars to construct? And the biggest mystery of all that is keeping us up at night: what exactly is happening with the #1 spot that has industry insiders calling it the eighth wonder of the modern world? Is it made of solid gold? Is it powered by interactive AI? Or is it something so emotionally raw and historically significant that it will make the whole world cry? Fasten your seatbelts, take a deep breath, and open your mind, because we are about to embark on a journey through the top 7 biggest wax figure plans for BTS members in 2026. And trust me, you are absolutely not ready for the magnitude of what's coming next. Number 7. J-Hope at the Wynwood Walls, a Technicolor explosion of rhythm and soul, Miami, USA. We kick off this monumental countdown with an explosion of color, energy, and a rhythm that refuses to be silenced even when frozen in time, because coming in at number 7 is none other than the sunshine of BTS, the dance commander, Young Ho-seok, better known as J-Hope, who is slated to be immortalized in the heart of the world's most vibrant street art sanctuary, the Wynwood Walls in Miami, Florida. Now, when you think of wax figures, you probably imagine a dimly lit room with velvet ropes and a stiff standing pose that looks like a passport photo gone wrong. But this project for 2026 is completely shattering that boring stereotype by placing J-Hope in an open-air museum that celebrates the very roots of his artistic identity, street culture, graffiti, and unadulterated freedom. Why Miami? And why Wynwood Walls? To understand the magnitude of this decision, we have to rewind the tape back to J-Hope's origins as a street dancer in Gwangju, South Korea, where he was just a kid with a dream and a body that moved like liquid, known then as Smile Hoya of the dance crew Neuron. And it is this raw, underground energy that the curators are desperate to capture. This isn't just a statue, it is a tribute to the Jack-in-the-Box era mixed with the vibrant hues of Hope World, creating a visual paradox that has art critics absolutely losing their minds. The proposed figure does not have feet planted firmly on the ground, which is a technical nightmare for engineers and sculptors alike, because the plan is to capture J-Hope in a gravity-defying, mid-air freeze frame from his iconic Lollapalooza performance, a moment where he looked less like a human and more like a god of thunder and rhythm. The engineering team is reportedly using a reinforced titanium skeletal structure hidden within the leg of his baggy, custom distressed cargo pants, a fashion piece that is being recreated stitch by stitch by the original designers to support the entire weight of the figure, giving the terrifyingly realistic illusion that he is levitating in sheer ecstasy. But the Edu-Tainment factor here goes deeper than just the pose. Let's talk about the skin texture. We all know that under stage lights, human skin glistens with sweat, adrenaline, and heat, and to replicate this, the wax artists are developing a new, proprietary polymer blend tentatively called thermoskin, which mimics the slight sheen of perspiration and the flushing of cheeks that happens after an intense dance break, ensuring that visitors don't just see a doll, but feel the heat radiating from his performance. The backdrop is equally insane. Instead of a plain wall, J-Hope's figure will be situated in front of a rotating mural wall painted by 3 legendary graffiti artists who are being flown in from Brazil, New York, and soul to collaborate on a piece that visually interprets the sound waves of arson and chicken noodle soup. This isn't just a static background. It is an interactive canvas where the paint contains photoluminescent pigments that charge during the glorious Miami sunshine and then erupt into a neon glow when the sun sets, syncing with a directional audio system that blasts J-Hope's laugh. Yes, his actual, infectious laugh at random intervals, catching tourists completely off guard. The choice of Miami is also deeply symbolic because it represents the bridge between the Americas and the global beat, mirroring how J-Hope bridged the gap between K-pop and global hip-hop credibility. Critics are calling this the dopamine station because early focus groups reported that just standing next to the prototype made them involuntarily smile, proving that J-Hope's superpower translates even through wax and silicone. However, the biggest challenge facing the creation team, according to leaked internal memos, is the eyes, capturing the duality of J-Hope, the intense, scary professionalism of the dance leader versus the warm, comforting gaze of the Hobie we all love is proving to be the most difficult artistic hurdle of the entire project. They are reportedly using hand-painted glass eyes that feature a microscopic layering technique to create depth, so that from one angle, he looks fierce and focused, but step 2 inches to the right, and the light catches the iris in a way that makes him look incredibly soft and welcoming. This location at Wynwood Walls transforms the concept of a wax figure from a museum artifact into a piece of living street art, exposed to the elements, the humidity, and the vibrant chaos of the city. Requiring a maintenance team to visit daily, much like a makeup artist touches up a star between takes. It is a bold, risky, and incredibly loud statement that fits our number 7 perfectly. You cannot contain J-Hope in a glass box. You have to let him out into the wild, into the color, and into the streets where he truly belongs. This project is a love letter to the history of dance, turning a corner of Miami into a pilgrimage site for every dancer who ever looked at J-Hope and realized that movement is a language of its own. So, get your cameras ready and prepare to be blinded by the sheer charisma, because the number 7 spot is not just a figure, it is a permanent festival of joy. Number 6. Suga at the Musikverein, a symphony of silence in gold, Vienna, Austria. If number 7 was a chaotic explosion of neon energy and street noise, number 6 demands that you hush your voice, straighten your posture, and step into the hallowed halls of absolute musical sanctity, because we are traveling from the humid streets of Miami to the breathtaking golden epicenter of classical history in Vienna, Austria, to witness the immortalization of the genius producer, the lyrical philosopher, and the man who breathes music like oxygen, Min Yoongi, aka Suga, at the world-famous Musikverein. This is not just a tourist trap. This is the Golden Hall, the venue that hosts the Vienna Philharmonic, a place where the acoustics are so scientifically perfect that even a pin drop sounds like a drum beat, and in 2026, it will become the permanent residence of a wax figure that is being described by art historians as the modern Beethoven. Why Vienna? And why the Musikverein? The decision to place Suga here is a profound nod to his deep, often hidden roots in classical composition and his first love, the piano, bridging the gap between the raw, and aggressive rap of August D and the delicate, weeping melodies he composes for BTS. The narrative here is heavy, emotional, and steeped in the Edu-Tainment facts of music theory, because the figure itself depicts Suga not standing, not dancing, but seated at a spectacularly restored 1920s Bosendorfer Imperial Grand Piano, a literal piece of Austrian history worth more than a luxury car captured in a moment of solitary creation. The curators have titled this installation the Resilient Chord, and the level of detail is frankly disturbing in the best way possible. Let's talk about the hands, because for a pianist and producer, hands are the tools of the trade, the weapons of mass creation. The sculptors reportedly spent over 6 months just analyzing 3D scans of Suga's hands, mapping every single vein, the specific curvature of his fingers when they strike a chord, and most heartbreakingly, the subtle, almost invisible scar tissue around his shoulder, a silent tribute to the surgery he underwent and the years of chronic pain he endured to keep performing for us. This isn't just a wax doll, it is an anatomical marvel that tells the story of survival. The wax mixture used for Suga is entirely different from J-Hope's. They are using a alabaster matte formula to replicate his famously pale, porcelain-like complexion, but to prevent him from looking like a ghost, they are using a technique called subsurface scattering painting, where layers of faint blue and purple are painted times under times the top layer of wax to mimic the veins running beneath translucent skin, giving him that ethereal, vampire-esque beauty that fans go crazy for. But here is where the Edu-Tainment gets wild. The piano he is playing isn't silent. Using bone conduction technology hidden within the piano keys and the wax fingertips, when a visitor places their elbows on the velvet railing and covers their ears, they will feel the vibration of the note C major resonating through their skeletal structure. A frequency chosen by sound therapists because it promotes healing and calmness, directly referencing Suga's desire to make music that comforts the weary soul. The lighting in the Golden Hall is legendary, dominated by massive crystal chandeliers and gold leaf statues of caryatids, and the wax figure is positioned in the Loge box, a private balcony area, illuminated by a single, focused beam of warm light that mimics the solitary lamp of a late-night recording studio. This creates a visual metaphor of Yoongi's life, alone in the spotlight, surrounded by the gold of success, but focused entirely on the keys in front of him. The outfit chosen for this figure is a sharp departure from stage costumes. He is dressed in a bespoke, jet-black tuxedo designed by Valentino specifically for this project, but with a traditional Korean norige tassel hanging from the lapel, symbolizing his refusal to forget his roots even while sitting in the center of Western high culture. The atmosphere around this figure is said to be overwhelming. Beta, testers of the exhibit, reported breaking down in tears because the expression on the wax face is not a smile, nor a scowl, but a look of Han, a specifically Korean concept of deep sorrow and resentment transformed into hope and artistic beauty. It's the face of a man who has battled depression, poverty, and doubt, and won. The location management has even installed a humidity-controlled microclimate bubble around the figure because the sheer age of the Musikverein building means dust is a constant enemy, and they cannot risk a single speck landing on the pristine wax cheek of the Daegu wordsmith. Furthermore, the sheet music resting on the piano rack is not a prop. It is a handwritten replica of the original draft of Snooze, complete with coffee stains and crossed-out lyrics, providing a raw, unfiltered look into his messy, brilliant creative process. This number 6 spot is a pilgrimage for the introverts, the dreamers, and the music lovers who understand that sometimes the loudest statement is made in absolute silence. It elevates Suga from a pop idol to a maestro, cementing his legacy alongside Mozart and Strauss in the city of music, proving that a kid from Daegu with a beat-up MIDI controller can indeed conquer the most prestigious hall in Europe. It is a breathtaking fusion of classical prestige and modern resilience that will leave you absolutely speechless. Number 5. Jin at the Hall of Mirrors, Palace of Versailles, a reflection of eternal beauty, France. If you thought the golden silence of Vienna was the peak of luxury, you need to prepare your eyes for a blinding level of opulence because we are crossing the border into France to witness a collision between 17th century royal grandeur and 21st century worldwide handsome visual supremacy. Coming in at number 5 is the eldest brother, the visual king, and the silver voice of BTS, Kim Seokjin, who is set to become the first pop culture icon in history to have a permanent wax residency inside the legendary Hall of Mirrors, Galerie des Glaces, at the Palace of Versailles. This is not a drill, and this is certainly not a standard museum exhibit. This is a diplomatic and artistic statement that has the French Ministry of Culture working overtime. Why Versailles? Because where else do you put a man whose face has been scientifically proven by Dutch visual artists to align perfectly with the golden ratio? The location is symbolic of absolute monarchy and beauty, and Jin's figure is being installed to represent the monarch of self-love. The Edu-Tainment value here explodes when we look at the scientific struggle the sculpting team faced. Very leaked reports from the Atelier de Paris revealed that recreating Jin's face was the most technically frustrating task they had ever encountered, not because of imperfections, but because of the lack of them. In the world of wax sculpting, character comes from asymmetry, a crooked nose, a droopy eyelid. But Jin's facial symmetry is so mathematically precise that the initial clay molds looked like computer-generated imagery, CGI, rather than an organic human being. To combat this uncanny valley effect, the artists had to use a revolutionary micro-stippling technique, manually creating microscopic pores and tiny, almost invisible laugh lines around his eyes that only appear when he smiles, grounding his ethereal beauty in human warmth. The pose chosen for this installation is iconic yet regal, known as the Epiphany stance. It captures Jin standing under the central chandelier, one hand extended as if reaching for the crowd, and the other resting on his chest, referencing the choreography of his soul-stirring solo song Epiphany. But the real magic lies in the lighting and the environment. The Hall of Mirrors contains 357 mirrors, and the curators have positioned Jin's figure at a mathematically calculated focal point where, if you stand at the entrance of the hall, the reflection of his wax figure multiplies infinitely, creating an army of worldwide handsomes stretching into eternity, a visual pun that Jin himself reportedly laughed hysterically at when he saw the blueprints. Let's talk about the outfit, because you don't go to Versailles in a t-shirt. Jin's figure is draped in a custom-made, modernized version of a French court coat mixed with the sleek lines of modern K-pop fashion, designed by the house of Tom Brown, utilizing a fabric woven with actual crushed diamond dust. Yes, you heard that right. The fabric sparkles not because of sequins, but because of geologically authentic diamond particulate that catches the light from the massive crystal chandeliers above, ensuring that he literally glows. The Edu-Tainment aspect delves deeper into the chemistry of the lips. Jin is famous for his plush, full lips, and standard wax dyes looked too flat and matte. To solve this, the cosmetic chemists developed a hydro-gloss silicone layer that retains a permanent wet-look texture without ever drying out, mimicking the hydration of a lip balm application, keeping those famous lips looking kissable for the next 100 years. The atmosphere of this exhibit is heavily guarded and strictly controlled. Visitors are required to wear felt overshoes to protect the parquet flooring, adding to the sense that you are approaching royalty. But what truly sets this apart is the auditory experience. Unlike the booming beats of J-Hope or the bone conduction of Suga, the Jin exhibit utilizes hypersonic sound technology, which beams a narrow column of sound directly to the person standing in front of the figure. In that spot, and only that spot, you hear Jin's isolated vocals from The Astronaut, stripping away the instruments and leaving only his breathy, stable, and deeply emotional voice whispering, "I love you" in Korean, English, and French. It is an intimate, tear-jerking experience that contrasts sharply with the cold, hard glass of the mirrors surrounding you. The narrative here is about the burden of beauty and the triumph of self-acceptance. Placing Jin in a room historically used for signing treaties and displaying power redefines power not as political dominance, but as the ability to love oneself. Critics are calling this the Narcissus Project, but fans know it as the ultimate tribute to the man who taught us that we are the ones we should love in this world. The logistics of this are a nightmare. Versailles is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, meaning no heavy machinery can be used for installation, so the figure, which weighs over 100 kilograms due to the internal steel counterweights required for his outstretched pose, has to be carried in by a team of 12 handlers wearing white gloves, walking in perfect synchronization to avoid vibrating the floorboards. This number 5 spot is a testament to Jin's timeless appeal. He isn't just a trend, he is a classic, a piece of art that stands toe-to-toe with the grandeur of French history, proving that worldwide handsome is a title that transcends borders, languages, and even time itself. It is elegant, it is extravagant, and it is undeniably 100% Kim Seokjin. Number 4. RM at the Bibliotheca Alexandrina, the guardian of wisdom in the cradle of civilization, Egypt. We have journeyed through the neon streets of Miami, the golden silence of Vienna, and the mirrored halls of Versailles. But number 4 demands a destination that is not just a location, but a spiritual sanctuary for the mind. Which is why we are crossing the Mediterranean to the very cradle of human knowledge, Egypt, to unveil the most intellectually ambitious wax figure project in history, featuring the leader, the philosopher, and the poetic soul of BTS, Kim Namjoon, universally known as RM, who is set to stand eternally within the colossal, sun-drenched reading terraces of the Bibliotheca Alexandrina. This choice initially confused the mainstream media who expected a flashy concert arena, but for armies who know the heart of Namjoon, this is the only place on Earth that truly makes sense. It is a modern resurrection of the ancient Library of Alexandria, a space dedicated to the preservation of human thought, art, and history, mirroring RM's own lifelong dedication to collecting art and preserving culture. The Edu-Tainment value of this installation is staggering because it bridges the gap between the ancient pharaohs and the modern president of K-pop. The figure itself is titled The Archive of Indigo, and unlike the other figures that focus on performance or beauty, this one focuses on time's presence asterisk. The curators have secured a spot in the main reading room, a vast, cathedral-like space where sunlight filters through the roof panels specifically designed to protect books from direct damage, creating a soft, divine illumination that will wash over RM's figure. But the engineering challenge here is the scale. RM is the tallest member, with a physique that has transformed drastically over the years from a lanky rapper to a muscular, broad-shouldered titan, and the sculpting team has reportedly used medical-grade MRI scans from his military service era to capture the sheer density of his frame. They are not just sculpting wax, they are sculpting authority. The material science involved is groundbreaking. Given Egypt's climate and the library's specific atmospheric conditions, the wax is infused with a silica gel matrix that actively absorbs and releases moisture to maintain a constant structural integrity, ensuring that the figure never warps, symbolizing RM's unwavering stability as the leader of the group. Let's talk about the face, specifically the dragon eyes. Artists have spent hundreds of hours studying the unique shape of Namjoon's eyes, the way they disappear into crescents when he smiles, but hold a terrifying, piercing intensity when he is serious. To replicate this, they are using a multi-layered iris painting technique that includes a speck of gold leaf in the center of the pupil, a subtle nod to the god of destruction becoming the god of creation. The figure will not be looking at the camera. Instead, he will be posed looking slightly upward at the soaring ceiling of the library, holding a hyper-realistic replica of a rare first-edition book on Korean abstract art, with his finger marking a specific page. This isn't just a random prop. The book is a functional, localized speaker. When visitors lean in close to read over his shoulder, the book emits a low-frequency hum of RM's own voice, reciting excerpts from his personal journals and lyrics from Wild Flower, creating a private, intimate bubble of philosophy amidst the grandeur of the library. The outfit is a masterclass in gorpcore luxury meets scholarly elegance. He is dressed in a heavily textured, earth-toned ensemble designed by Bottega Veneta, utilizing fabrics that are sustainable and organic, reflecting his love for nature. The Edu-Tainment facts reveal that the fabric dyes were created using actual soil samples from Ilsan, his hometown, and sand from the Egyptian desert, physically blending his origin with his destination. But the detail that will break your heart is the base of the statue. He is not standing on a pedestal. He is standing on a floor made of fossilized wood resin, and etched into this floor are the sound waves of his United Nations speech, "Speak Yourself." It's a tactile experience where blind visitors can run their fingers over the grooves of the floor and feel the speech that inspired a generation. The atmosphere around the RM figure is designed to be a zero-stress zone. The library administration has partnered with neuroscientists to pump a specific scent into the air around the figure, a mix of old paper, petrichor, the smell of rain on dry earth, and mahogany wood scents that have been scientifically proven to lower cortisol levels and induce a state of deep focus, effectively turning the RM exhibit into a meditation spot for stressed students and weary travelers. It creates a narrative that RM is not just a star to be looked at, but a guardian who watches over the learners of the world. The project has also sparked a massive cultural exchange program, with the library announcing a Namjuning wing dedicated to Korean literature and art, funded by the proceeds from the exhibit. This number 4 spot is profound because it strips away the glitter of the stage and presents Kim Namjoon as he sees himself, a student of life, a lover of words, and a bridge between cultures. It is a quiet, powerful, and monumentally dignified tribute that cements his legacy not just as a musician, but as a modern-day philosopher king, standing guard in the shadow of history's greatest archive. It is deep, it is intellectual, and it is magnificently RM. Number 3. Jimin at the Louvre, Abu Dhabi, the ethereal angel beneath the rain of light, UAE. We have entered the top 3, the god tier of this countdown, where the line between human celebrity and divine mythology completely dissolves. And for number 3, we are traveling to the intersection of the desert sands and the Persian Gulf to witness a project so beautiful it hurts to look at. We are heading to the architectural marvel of the modern world, the Louvre, Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates, to unveil the permanent installation of the man who turned K-pop into high art, the contemporary dance prodigy, and the angel of BTS, Park Jimin. This is not just a wax figure. It is being billed as the weightless paradox. Why the Louvre, Abu Dhabi? Because this museum is famous for its Rain of Light, a dome structure designed by architect Jean Nouvel that filters sunlight through 7,850 geometric stars to create a cinematic, moving shower of light spots, and this is the only lighting condition complex enough to capture the multifaceted aura of Jimin. The curators argued that putting Jimin in a regular room would be an insult to his fluidity. He needs to be under the sky, yet protected, just like his voice, which is delicate yet powerful enough to shatter glass. The Edu-Tainment details on the engineering of this figure are mind-blowing because the goal was to capture Jimin's signature gravity-defying movement. We are talking about the Black Swan era meets Lie, where he seems to pause in mid-air. To achieve this, the engineers have collaborated with aerospace dynamicists to create a structural glass pillar that has a refractive index identical to air, making it virtually invisible to the naked eye. This pillar supports the figure by the waist, allowing Jimin to be sculpted in a horizontal, mid-air spin, his body arched in that impossible, beautiful curve that only a trained contemporary dancer possesses. Let's talk about the anatomy, because this is where the fans will lose their minds. The sculptors reportedly spent 3 months just studying the muscle groups in Jimin's thighs and the unique flexibility of his ankles. They haven't just sculpted legs, they have sculpted the tension of the quadriceps engaging during a jump, the specific way his toes point, on point, and the strain of the sternocleidomastoid muscle in his neck as he throws his head back in passion. The skin texture for Jimin is a complete departure from the others. While J-Hope was sweaty and Suga was porcelain, Jimin's wax formula is infused with crushed pearl dust. Yes, actual pearls were ground down to a micron level and mixed into the silicone to replicate that famous Jimin glow that makeup artists have been trying to copy for a decade. Under the shifting rain of light of the museum dome, this pearl-infused skin will shimmer and change tone, looking pale and ethereal in the morning and golden and warm during the sunset, literally mimicking the lyrics of Serendipity. The outfit is a piece of history in itself. He is not wearing a costume, he is wearing a custom-commissioned haute couture piece from Dior Men, designed by Kim Jones specifically for this 2026 project. It is a sheer, flowing tunic made of organza and silk chiffon that defies the laws of fabric weight, designed to look like it is underwater, floating around his body to accentuate the sense of movement. But here is the detail that adds the spot mystery. The figure is shirtless underneath the sheer fabric, and the artists have painstakingly recreated the Nevermind tattoo on his ribs using a tattoo gun on the wax skin, getting the ink depth and fading exactly right to match his current age. The face. Oh, the face is the crown jewel. The challenge was the duality. How do you sculpt a face that is simultaneously the cutest mochi in the world and the most intimidatingly sexy performer on the planet? The solution was in the lips. They used a soft sculpting technique for the bottom lip to give it that signature plush fullness, but sharpened the jawline to razor-like precision. The eyes are painted with a glossy glaze finish to look permanently watery, capturing that emotional vulnerability he shows when he looks at Army. The location within the museum is the Sanctuary of Light, a platform surrounded by water, so visitors cannot touch him, they can only gaze at him from across a reflecting pool. This water creates a double image, the wax figure flying in the air, and its reflection dancing on the water below. The auditory experience here is subtle but haunting. Using directional speakers hidden in the ceiling, the space plays a decompressed, slowed-down instrumental version of Like Crazy mixed with the ambient sound of ocean waves, creating a hypnotic trance state. Visitors are reportedly advised to limit their viewing time because focus groups found that staring at the figure for too long induced a state of Stendhal syndrome dizziness and rapid heartbeat caused by exposure to immense beauty. The maintenance of this figure is the most expensive on the list because the rain of light brings in sea air and humidity. So the figure is coated in a hydrophobic nanolayer used on satellites to repel moisture and salt, ensuring his beauty remains untouched by the harsh desert environment. This number 3 spot is a triumph of aesthetics over reality. It freezes a moment of pure artistic expression, immortalizing Park Jimin not just as a singer, but as a living, breathing masterpiece of movement who has finally found a stage that is as beautiful as he is. It is romantic, it is breathtaking, and it is purely, devastatingly Jimin. Number 2. V at the Uffizi Gallery, the Renaissance reborn in flesh and wax, Florence, Italy. Hold your breath and prepare to be transported to the birthplace of the Renaissance, because coming in at the prestigious number 2 spot is the man whose face has been scientifically declared a work of art, the jazz-loving, soulful baritone, and the visual emperor of BTS, Kim Tae-hyung, better known as V, who is slated to be the first ever modern celebrity to have a permanent installation inside the hallowed corridors of the Uffizi Gallery in Florence, Italy. This is not just a wax figure, this is a cultural revolution that blurs the line between K-pop and the old masters. Why the Uffizi? Because this is the home of Botticelli's The Birth of Venus and Caravaggio's Medusa, and the curators have determined that V's visuals are the modern equivalent of these timeless masterpieces. The project, codenamed The Singular Vision, is generating massive controversy and excitement because of the unprecedented techniques being used. Let's dive deep into the Edu-Tainment facts of the face sculpting. V is famous for his asymmetry, specifically his eyes' one monolid that is sharp and fierce, and one double lid that is soft and dreamy. Standard wax modeling assumes symmetry, so the team had to invent a new sculpting rig called the dual-axis micro-mapper to capture this unique irregularity that gives him his haunting charm. But the real insanity lies in the skin texture. To replicate V's famous sepia-toned warmth and his love for vintage aesthetics, the wax mixture is not just silicone, it is a proprietary blend infused with microscopic particles of crushed terracotta and actual oil paint pigments used in 17th century restoration, giving his skin a literal painterly quality that makes him look like an oil painting that has come to life. The lighting for this figure is a marvel of engineering. Unlike the bright LEDs of a concert, V will be illuminated by candle lux technology, a system of flickering, warm-toned lights that mimic the soft glow of a candlelit jazz bar in the 1920s, casting dramatic shadows that accentuate the impossibly high bridge of his nose and his sharp jawline. The pose is pure, unadulterated Vante. He is not dancing, he is not singing. He is depicted in a seated position on a velvet-tufted armchair that is a replica of the one found in the Singularity music video, legs crossed with an elegance that screams aristocracy. In his hand, he holds a vintage film camera, a Leica M3, which is not a prop, but a fully functional camera that takes a photo of the visitor every time they step onto the pressure pad in front of him, physically capturing the fan in V's perspective, flipping the script so that times he times is the one observing times you asterisk. The outfit is a masterclass in grandpa core turned high fashion. He is dressed in a custom 3-piece suit designed by Hedi Slimane for Celine, utilizing fabric sourced from a defunct 1950s French textile mill, complete with a silk ascot tie that was hand-dyed to match the exact shade of the Tuscan sunset. But the detail that will make you gasp is the sound. The Uffizi is usually a place of hushed whispers, but the V exhibit features a sonic dome. When you stand directly under the archway of his alcove, you don't hear pop music. You hear the crackling static of a vinyl record, and then the deep, vibrating hum of V's voice playing a saxophone. Yes, the audio track is an unreleased 10-minute jazz improvisation recording of V playing the saxophone, mixed with his low humming of Blue and Gray. It creates an atmosphere of intense intimacy and melancholy that has reportedly caused the museum guards to tear up during late-night shifts. The narrative here is powerful. It positions Kim Tae-young not as an idol, but as a muse. It challenges the art world to accept that a boy from Gyeochang can possess a beauty as profound as a Greek statue. The spot trivia here is wild. To get the hand details right, the sculptors had to cast V's hands separately because his fingers are famously long and slender, and they needed to capture the specific way he holds objects, with a delicate, almost fragile touch. There is also a hidden detail for the die-hard fans. Painted incredibly faintly on his cheek is the phrase "I purple you" in Italian, T viola, visible only under a UV light that activates once every hour. The logistics of this installation are a nightmare because the Uffizi has strict humidity controls for the ancient paintings, so V's figure is encased in an invisible air curtain that keeps his temperature stable while allowing visitors to get close enough to see the individual lashes on his eyes. This number 2 spot is a declaration that beauty is a universal language, and V is its most fluent speaker. It is romantic, it is vintage, it is hauntingly beautiful, and it is the ultimate tribute to the man who lives his life like a piece of art. It is a masterpiece within a masterpiece, and it is undeniably breathtakingly V. Ladies and gentlemen, armies across the universe, and curious souls who have wandered into this digital odyssey, we have finally arrived. We have traveled the globe, from the street art chaos of Miami to the hushed golden halls of Vienna, from the mirrored infinity of Versailles to the intellectual sanctuary of Egypt, from the ethereal light of Abu Dhabi to the Renaissance romance of Florence. We have seen figures that levitate, figures that weep, and figures that sing, but nothing, and I mean absolutely times nothing times, could have prepared you for this moment. We are at the summit, the apex. The number 1 spot. This is not just a wax figure, this is the singularity. This is the project that has reportedly bankrupted 2 insurance companies just during the planning phase. This is the tribute to the Golden Matinee, the man who was raised by 6 brothers and grew up to conquer the world, the pop star who is good at everything he touches. We are talking about a project so ambitious that it combines aerospace engineering, next-generation robotics, and pure, raw emotion into a spectacle that will likely be visible from outer space. The rumors are terrifying. Is it true that the figure contains actual DNA? Is it true that the stage generates its own electricity? Is it true that looking into its eyes causes an adrenaline spike similar to skydiving? The industry is shaking, the critics are silenced, and the world is holding its breath. Wipe your sweaty palms, grab a tissue, and open your eyes wider than you ever have before, because we are about to witness the unveiling of the 8th wonder of the world. Number 1. Jungkook at the Sphere, the golden supernova of the digital age, Las Vegas, USA. We have reached the absolute peak of human entertainment, the neon-soaked heart of the desert, Las Vegas, Nevada, to witness the coronation of the King of Pop's modern successor, the Golden Matinee, Jungkook. Inside the most technologically advanced structure ever built by human hands, the Sphere. This is not a museum, this is a cathedral of the future, a 6 foot tall orb wrapped in 580,000 square feet of LEDs, and right in the center of its colossal atrium, floating on a magnetic field that defies gravity and logic, will be the ultimate tribute to the man who defies all genres. Why the Sphere? Because Jungkook is too big for a room, he is too explosive for a gallery. He requires a venue that is as 360-degree, all-encompassing, and limitless as his talent. This project, classified under the code name Project Golden Eternity, is the most expensive wax figure installation in history, with a budget that rivals a Marvel movie. Let's start with the Edu-Tainment breakdown of the figure's physicality, because this is where science fiction becomes reality. Jungkook is known for his incredible physique, the perfect balance of bulk and agility, and the sculpting team realized that standard wax was too static to capture his kinetic energy. So, They have developed a revolutionary biokinetic silicone hybrid. This material is not solid, it is a semi-solid gel encased in a nanomesh skin that actually times flexes asterisk. When the temperature in the room shifts, or when the bass of the music hits a certain frequency, the muscles on the wax figure's arms and abs visibly contract and relax. Yes, you heard that right. If you stare at his bicep while standing next to Uplays, you will see the muscle fibers twitch, creating a terrifyingly realistic illusion of immense power held in check. But we have to talk about the skin. Jungkook's skin is famous for being flawless, yet manly, and to achieve this, the artist used photonic scanning to map every single pore, every tiny scar on his cheek, and every mole. However, the number one factor is the golden dust. The silicone mixture for his skin has been infused with microscopic particles of 24-karat gold. It is invisible to the naked eye indoors, but when the massive LED screens of the sphere blast pure white light, Jungkook's figure doesn't just reflect the light he times absorbs times and times radiates times it, making him literally glow with a golden aura that looks like a Super Saiyan transformation come to life. And then there are the tattoos. Oh, the tattoos. This was the single hardest artistic challenge of the entire list. Jungkook's right arm is a personal history book, a chaotic yet beautiful sleeve of ink that holds deep meaning. The artist couldn't just paint them on, that would look flat. Instead, they used a subdermal injection technique, literally tattooing the silicone arm with the exact same ink capability as human skin, layer by layer, to create the depth and fade of real tattoos. They even flew in the original tattoo artist, Pollock, to consult on the exact geometry of the Eye of Providence and the tiger lily, ensuring that every line is canon accurate. The detail is so precise that you can see the slight raising of the skin where the ink is heaviest. Now, let's discuss the eyes, the Bambi eyes that can turn into the eyes of a predator in a split second. The curators at the Sphere have installed smart iris technology in the figure's eyes. Using high-speed tracking cameras hidden in the room, the figure's eyes will actually follow the movement of the crowd. If a large group gathers to the left, his gaze shifts to the left. If someone waves, his pupils dilate slightly. It creates an uncanny, heart-stopping connection where you feel like he is acknowledging your existence personally. The pose? It is the Michael Jackson stance. He is captured mid-spin, one leg kicked out, toe pointed, body torqued, freezing the moment of highest velocity in his choreography. He is suspended 3 meters in the air on a platform made of clear, reinforced diamond glass, so from below, he looks like he is flying. The outfit is a fusion of his two identities, the global pop superstar and the humble boy from Busan. He is wearing a recreated, crystallized version of his golden live on stage jacket, but the back is embroidered with the BTS logo in real crushed velvet, symbolizing that no matter how high he flies, he carries his brothers on his back. The auditory experience at the Sphere is legendary, utilizing 167,000 speakers, and for this exhibit, they have created a sonic vortex. As you walk toward the figure, you don't just hear music. You feel the bass of 7 thumping in your chest cavity, synchronized with the pulsing lights of the venue. But if you stand directly underneath him in the golden circle, the music cuts out, and you hear an isolated 8D audio recording of Jungkook breathing heavily into a microphone, wiping his sweat and whispering, "Army." Sarange, making it feel like he just finished a 3-hour concert just for you. The atmosphere is electric, chaotic, and overwhelmingly emotional. The background screen of the Sphere, the largest screen on Earth, cycles through a timeline of his life, from the shy 15-year-old with big doe eyes to the global icon conquering Times Square, surrounding the wax figure with his own history. It is a sensory overload that represents the chaos of fame and the stillness of the artist at the center of it. This installation works on a Edu-Tainment level by showcasing the absolute peak of animatronics, material science, and acoustic engineering. It is not just a statue, it is a testament to human potential. It celebrates Jungkook not just as a singer, but as the golden standard of what a performer can be. It is loud, it is shiny, it is technologically impossible, and it is the only fitting tribute to the man who can do anything. Ladies and gentlemen, The number one spot is a golden supernova that burns brighter than anything else on the planet. It is the ultimate masterpiece. It is Jungkook.